Welcome back. Hello, everybody! Woo! Can I get some attention? Are you enjoying the event so far? This is a bit low. Are you enjoying the event? Are you enjoying the drinks? Yes. Everybody say thank you, FIRSTPICK. Good, you can sit down, class. Thank you. All right, we're gonna continue now with our amazing panelist, Andra Bagdonaitė, general partner at FIRSTPICK Venture Capital. I'm hopefully not gonna crash my tablet. Andra, I know you already for a few years. As FIRSTPICK, you have done over 90 investments, if I'm correct, yes?
Yes.
Oh, maybe let's try it.
Sure. Yeah. We have invested in 95 companies.
95 companies. This one is very low, but it's okay. I'm gonna shout. Everybody, let's pay attention.
Do you want to share?
Can you hear me? Yeah. Can everybody hear me? Is everybody listening? I have to get everyone's attention. So FIRSTPICK writes first checks in the Baltic Founders, typically 100 to 500K. And Andra's been doing this for over 7 years.
Yes,
wow.
That's right.
Time flies. Over 95 startups invested. Everything is moving fast. AI is taking off. Where do we even start? How did you got started in venture capital, Andra?
I was never planning to be an investor, so I think it was a bit accidental and mostly driven by the people that I was surrounded with. So I've met the other two partners in the fund, Dimitri and Jone, at the consulting firm Civita in 2016. So 10 years ago, we started working together, we did some nice projects there. And then in 2019, there was this opportunity to raise an accelerator fund in Lithuania. And Jone and Dimitri decided to partner up with Startup Wise Guys to bring their brand to Lithuania and launch a 9 million euro fund to invest into early stage companies. And I had this decision whether I want to stay in consulting or move into venture capital. And we were working already with startups quite a lot. Like we worked with startups like Nanoavionics, helping them raise first grants, help to commercialize products, bring them to the market. A lot of people from the lab, like a lot of researchers. So we loved the startup space, but we were not investors. We were consultants. And I had this dilemma, like, what do I do? Do I stay? Do I go? And the thing is that I was really tired of being a consultant. Like, I was tired of always coming in, helping the companies, and getting out, and never being in it for the long run. And so I thought, this, fund sounds exciting. We will be accelerating companies. We will be investing. We will have our skin in the game. And so I said yes. And I was the one and only employee in that fund. So it was Dimitri, Jan, and myself. And this is how we got into ventures. So
nice. So 95 investments later, and just announcing, is it your third fund?
So this is second fund for FIRSTPICK, but the third fund that we manage because the Startup Wise Guys fund before, yeah.
All right. So from all these accelerators and programs and funds, which is your favorite one investment?
Oh my God, I cannot say that. I have to say Kopla because they are here. Otherwise, Andrews, we will not be friends anymore. But I think my favorite investments are the ones that teach me something. And they can teach me many things. They can teach me that I was wrong when I was looking at them, when I was, evaluating and maybe fighting against investing in them, and then they prove me wrong. Or companies that teach me, okay, how can I be a better investor? How can I pick companies better? Sometimes they get me excited about a market I never knew existed before. So I think throughout this journey, I've learned so much from founders, and the best companies are the ones that I get to learn a lot from. So.
Oh, but we have to pick one that's not Kopla. So okay, let's make it easier. Not your favorite, but let's say the biggest surprise where you really learned the most.
Okay, so the biggest surprise for me was probably Whitebridge.
Whitebridge.
Yes, because when we were making the investment decision, I had a lot of doubts actually, and I thought, okay, I'm not sure about this. Like, can it really work? Like, if for guys that haven't heard about Whitebridge, they basically provide these profiles of people. So they scrape the web and they figure out who you are, what you like, what your preferences are, and then people can use it for various reasons, like when doing sales, for example, or in HR. Dating, yeah, maybe even like actually the most used use case is checking out yourself, so that you know what is out there about you on the web. And I thought, like, okay, I'm not sure that this will fly because people will not want to have them scraped like this. But actually, it's one of the fastest portfolio companies that we have.
And Whitebridge just raised 2.6 million seed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I don't know I don't remember the exact number, but ballpark figure sounds correct.
So how many, like, if you can share, obviously, how many like profiles or people are helping to search now a month or?
I really don't know. No, I don't have the details. I mean, I could check, but I don't have them at hand.
Well, everyone can go and check whitebridge.ai, I think, if I remember correctly.
Free advertising.
And shout out to Whitebridge. You should sponsor drinks next time.
We can arrange that, I think. They'd be happy to come here.
Here we go. This is going better and better. So how can what would you? Okay, so there's a lot of people here that are founders. They've been already pitching you, sometimes 2 or 3 at a time. So I guess the first advice for them is wait your turn and don't do it when someone else is speaking.
Yeah.
But besides that, like, what advice would you give, especially for first-time founders, early-stage founders? How can they approach you better? How can we pitch better?
So I think the easiest way to grab an investor's attention, and I'm not only speaking about myself, but in general, is to have someone introduce you. I know that it maybe sounds a bit weird because you can just go and talk to them yourself, right? But when you are introduced by someone that the investor trusts or respects or has worked with before, then immediately there is this, Okay, thank you. So there's immediately more trust and interest coming because, probably like they know this person, they have worked with them before, they trust them, they seem credible. So when you are introduced, then I think it just like immediately puts you in a different category. So this really helps, although it's like such a simple thing. And today, like, everyone on LinkedIn is connected to everyone, right? So you can easily get that introduction, and I think that can really work. But if, let's say you're in a hurry, you're at a conference, you really want to speak to that person, you don't have the time for that introduction, I think just think about talking to an investor like you would talk to a human, right? So very often I think people approach us and then they think we're some sort of like, creatures that, you have to pitch very fast and convince them right away that, you are worthy of an investment. But actually, investing is about building a relationship with the founder because you'll be working together for 8 to 10 years. It's a long journey. So investors want to trust you. And the best way to build trust is to build a relationship, right? So don't forget to ask how they're doing or how their day has been, what are they investing in, what are they looking for right now, right? So don't just like immediately get into pitching, but actually try and learn about the other person. I think that can help them memorize you better for sure.
Would you like to share some crazy stories? For example, I'm sure through 95 investments, something has happened. Like, what was the craziest pitch that you ever heard?
We are being recorded, but I'll share it anyways. I think like the one that made me feel the most uncomfortable was at a rave. So I was at a rave, it was like late already, having a good time, and then someone comes to me and they're like, I know you, we're having a meeting on Monday. And I'm thinking, I think, well, can it wait? Can we speak on Monday, maybe? So that I think was the most awkward one.
Was that person very excited?
Well, he seemed to have a good time as well.
All right, don't pitch at raves, or at least wait till you get some water, relax a little bit. Right on. So, what's the biggest red flag for founders?
Ooh, there are many, but I think like the biggest red flag is lying.
Oh, okay.
Lying or making things like not necessarily like lying per se, but trying to hide some things. So for example, sometimes we speak with founders and they try to create FOMO, you know, they try to make you think like, you know, this is the deal you cannot miss. And they say, oh, you know, I'm speaking with that and that investor as well this week. You know, they promise me that they will give an answer very fast. So, you know, this is a hot thing, like everyone is looking at it. But then the thing is that I know those investors and I can just like send them a WhatsApp message and ask like, what do you think about this team? I heard that, you know, you guys are speaking. And then they say, well, we're not, but can you introduce us? You know, maybe it's a good founder. So then immediately I think it's a red flag because you realize that, okay, the founders are not speaking the truth about the business. And then you start questioning everything else that they have said. You know, because if this is not true, then how about the metrics? How about, you know, the revenue? Should I also ask to get access to the Stripe account? Because like, what do I know, you know, if it's real or not? So I think this is the biggest red flag for me.
Got it. So let's say it's not Rave anymore. We learn all the mistakes. We're not lying and so on. And someone is preparing to pitch FIRSTPICK, and FIRSTPICK is kind of in the name that you're early stage first investors. But are you looking for specific traction or any kind of proof? Like, what do you expect now from startups when they pitch you? What do you want to see?
Yeah, so that's a good question. I think Andrus already touched upon it a little bit because he said that investor expectations are changing now and the pressure is higher than it has been before. I think that's true, and it's because of a couple of reasons. First is that we have seen some incredible success stories of companies like growing to crazy ARR numbers that was never possible before. You know, you see all the stories from Cursor, from Lovable, and those numbers, they're just mind-blowing. So this has raised the bar for everyone in the market. I mean, those are exceptions, of course, but like the average, you know, the average bar has raised because of that too. And then the second thing is that because of AI, so many people are able to build right now, and so the competition is higher. Like just the number of opportunities that investors can look at is much higher than it was before. So I think it's not an easy time for founders, but it's also the best time to be a founder because like it's such a massive opportunity, you know, this whole like AI thing and companies changing themselves and consumer behavior changing too. So it's interesting, very bipolar. But when you are thinking about pitching your company, I think there is this triangle of, you know, this holy grail of founder product market fit. So investors are looking for this holy grail. And when you are crafting your story, you can think about which of these three elements can I cover? Sometimes you can cover all of three of them, and then it's fantastic. Then it means, you know, you're probably going to have a very good time pitching and fundraising and getting that investment. But sometimes maybe it's one of the three. Maybe you have like an exceptional team, you know, someone that's outstanding, that has worked in unicorn companies, that has maybe built a company before, has exited. So then you can build the whole narrative about how strong this team is and that they will win and they will be able to pivot and adapt in the market, you know, no matter what. You can have the other two. You can have the product. Maybe you have something that is really, really unique, you know, something that no one else has thought about, and you want to bring that to the market, and that this is your advantage, so you focus on that. Or it can be the market part. You know, maybe the product isn't as exceptional, maybe it's like similar to alternatives, but then you have this crazy go-to-market motion. You just launched, you have the first clients, you know, revenues coming in, and then you build a narrative around this. So I would always try and think, what are our strengths? What is the thing that really makes us stand out? And then just like double down on, you know, making those strengths look really, really good.
Cool. Now, in the new 25 million euros fund that you just recently announced, are there any specific topics or technologies that you're most interested in? And obviously, like probably like everyone, you're investing into AI. What's your, maybe let's do a split it firstly in your topics, but second question will be, what's your philosophy or thesis about AI?
Yeah. That's a good question. So we are a generalist fund. So we speak with all founders. Like we basically want to invest in the best companies coming out of this region, no matter what the founders decide to build them in. So yeah, in the portfolio we have everything from compliance to fintech to marketplaces to some deep tech, femtech companies, you name it. Like it's really quite varied. If you look at our website, you'll see that I'm not lying. That's the truth. But right now, like we cannot fight the market reality, and the reality is that some of the top talent is moving into either AI or defense. So this is what we see. Like a lot of people want to build there because they see either a massive opportunity or a very big calling to actually, help Europe become resilient. So those are big. We are quite new to defense, so we haven't done any investments yet. We're like eyeing on them, and we will see if we actually do invest or not. But AI, I think, is big, and we already have quite a lot of companies in the portfolio.
All right, so AI. Are we getting close to AGI? Do you think AGI will happen, or if not? Do you think all SaaS, B2B, SaaS businesses will go to zero because everyone's going to be shipping their own code, their own products internally? How do you view that? How do you make your, I guess, even investment decisions with all the AI changes happening?
Yeah. This is like such an important topic and such a difficult one. And honestly, I wish I had all the answers, but I don't. And I try to learn every day and read what people are writing about, like listen to podcasts and really try to educate myself to understand, okay, what is happening and what the future might look like. And it seems like it's very difficult to predict. In terms of AGI, honestly, I'm quite bullish on that. And I think that it might happen. It looks like some of the top researchers are really thinking that we are getting there. And I want to trust the smart people in the room that are saying that it will be possible. So I think it will be. The question is when. And what do we call AGI exactly? Like, how do we define it, right? Because to some extent, like what we have today is already incredible, and you could almost call it AGI. We have agents doing things for us and like creating documents and just like ordering things for us, which is insane. Like it's almost an intelligent being. But talking about SaaS and whether SaaS is dead, I think it isn't. And I know that some people say that it is, like that agents will replace everything and everyone will build their own software. But I think like we as humans, at least for the next 5-10 years, we will want to have some sort of interface built for us. And this is because we don't know what we need very often. So we need someone to actually put it in a framework, to put it in a nice piece of software, to tell us, okay, go here to look at this, go here to search for that. This is how it works. It will be quite autonomous. So a lot of the workflows will be automated. So we will, now a lot of the AI is doing tasks, and in the future it will be doing more and more work, so actually replacing work. But in the end of the day, there will still be a human sitting behind it, and probably that human will need an interface. So I think that for now, at least, it still makes sense to build in that space. But yeah, in 10 years, who knows?
Have you invested already in, let's say, fully autonomous, if we can call it, agent startups? One of those where, it keeps learning from itself or from interactions with humans, any kind of case like that?
Fully autonomous, I don't think so. We have one company now that is close to that we are speaking to, and I'm very excited about what they're building, but fully autonomous, perhaps not yet. Most of the startups that we back in the AI space, they still focus on like some very specific use cases. So for example, we have invested in Chase-It, and they have voice agents that call bad debt and basically try to collect it back. So for lenders, it's a tool to recollect some of the lost debt. And it's a very specific use case. And then the agents can work for that use case really, really well because they have so much context and they can constantly keep on improving. But yeah, you still have, an interface and very controlled environment. So I think they still have an edge as long as they deliver very clear value to the client. So, revenue recovered, right? Like, this is powerful. So
maybe are you building any AI tools for yourself? How do you use AI as an investor, for example?
Yeah, I wish I used more of it. So this is my biggest problem right now: how to find time to build more stuff. But in general, as a team, we are using a couple of different things. So actually, we have a couple of agents. One of them is for sourcing, scraping, looking for companies. The other is for writing text, which is like very simple, but it has learned on this like massive database on what is FIRSTPICK's tone of voice, so it writes quite well. We are also working on an agent that would help us easily pull data from on our portfolio. So like, you know, you would just ask like this company, but for example, I could now ask Whitebridge how many profiles has its screen, and then it would just like take the data and give it to me. We're working on that. And then we have vibe coded a couple of tools for like matchmaking investors with our portfolio companies, and now also a vibe coded a tool to onboard new companies and walk them through the compliance process.
I personally can't wait for AI to replace all the lawyers for contracts and agreements. Oh, we love lawyers. We love lawyers. Don't sue me. We love them, but can't wait to replace them. What's your view on all the? Because legal tech, the AI is was from beginning one of the hottest spaces. Have you used any like maybe legal? Would you replace lawyers with AI? Maybe start that.
I have personally used this tool called pactas.lt. It helps you to review contracts. So I've done that with my tenant that lives in the apartment that I rent. So I just checked it if it makes sense. But that was personal. In general, I think the reason that you hire lawyers typically is that you want their advice and you want someone to represent you and to fight for you, right? And to fight for your interests. So I think AI will replace probably like a lot of the junior employees that do like very simple work. But in the end of the day, you'll want to work with the kick-ass lawyers, you know, that you can trust and just give them the whole process, and that's it.
And that's why we still love lawyers.
Exactly.
So we have a lawyer. We love you, Vincent. Venture capital funds are kind of mysterious animals that suddenly appear out of nowhere, and they have a lot of money, and no one knows where from. Like, if you would have to describe, if you would have to describe the fundraising process for this latest fund for someone who's, you know, early stage founder, how it works, like, because you have to pitch to investors yourself, right? So, let's say, how does that whole process work? Do you also just create a pitch deck and start reaching out investors?
Yeah, so the process is quite similar actually. And yeah, a lot of startups, they just think you have a fund and you have this money, and they don't think where the money came from. And it comes from our investors too. So the process for us looked like this. We first approached Ilte, our anchor investor, because they were looking for a fund manager, and we wrote a proposal to them that, you know, we want to get their money. So they committed to invest in us, 9 million. And for that, yeah, we prepared some materials, a pitch deck, everything. And once they were locked in, then we started going out in the market and pitching to other investors. And those are high net worth individuals, fund of funds, so other funds investing into funds, family offices, you know, that represent like wealthy people and manage their capital. And some VC funds as well, because some VC funds invest in funds to get access to deal flow. So we've built a pitch deck that we still have, and we are constantly reiterating on it. And we basically built a massive database of investors that we already know, and also keep on updating it. So just to give a general idea, on that list we have 350 people right now. And we have approached maybe like 70% of them. So actually a lot of pitching, on a lot of conversations. But so you build this pitch deck and you then get out there in the market and you start pitching. And I think like the biggest difference between pitching as a founder and pitching as an investor is that as a founder, typically you need to get one term sheet, right? You need to have one investor or a lead investor that believes in you, and then you're good. But as a fund, you need to have like, I don't know, 60, 70 investors. So you need to have so many people that commit, and so naturally you need to pitch much more than you do as a founder.
So when pitching these investors, obviously you have to make a case for Lithuania, and seems like there's a lot of attention out to Lithuania. Would you say so, or do you have to introduce Lithuania like from scratch every time?
So it depends. Like a lot of our investors are from the region. They're either Baltic or Lithuanian. So then, of course, for them you don't have to pitch because they know they're here. Like some of our investors, they're founders of unicorn companies, like from Kilo Health or from Tesonet, so clearly they know what's happening. But when we pitch outside of the Baltics, then yeah, we need to do a bit of work. So people know about Baltics, but they think, okay, is this big enough? Are there enough good opportunities? It seems like such a small population, so then you need to show all the numbers and tell people that like, okay, incredible success stories came out of the region. I'm quite surprised that like I speak to people in like London or Berlin and they don't know that Vinted is Lithuanian. I'm shocked, how is it possible? So you have to tell them, okay, like, these are success stories, this is how many companies we see, this is, how much capital is raised here, to actually show them that like, okay, a lot of potential here and it's worth putting their capital in this region and not, like in, I don't know, like, Berlin or Paris.
What would be your advice then for startup founders when they're approaching first investors outside of Lithuania, when they're pitching? What can they do better? Or what would be your first tips, let's say, how to start approaching investors abroad? Because it's always best to get a few term sheets, right?
Yeah.
Would you say go to conferences, cold outreach, getting a list of investors, and just writing them emails?
Yeah. So it is in general more difficult to pitch to investors not from Lithuania because they see many more opportunities, and so you are benchmarked against potentially stronger startups just because they get access to like so many companies, so it can be more difficult. But the most important thing to do is to think about it like doing sales. You wouldn't, if you are just starting out, you wouldn't go and like try to sell maybe to I don't know, the biggest corporate in Lithuania, right? Maybe you would start from something smaller. So with pitching to investors, you have to really identify who are the potential investors for me. Because some of the investors, they only invest in Fintech. Others only invest in B2B SaaS. Others invest in seed stage. Others invest in growth stage. And it might be that they will still take that call with you to meet you, but they will never invest because it doesn't match their thesis. And so you're just wasting your own time, having a conversation with that investor that will not lead anywhere. So I would say the step number one, building a proper CRM, filtering out what is right for me, what is wrong for me, and then trying to get warm introductions to as many of the people on the good list. And that can be through LinkedIn, through email, at a conference, wherever you can catch them.
Awesome. So, I think this is a great actually closing note. Guys, go out there, pitch, also pitch Andra tonight. Thank her for the drinks. Andra, unless you have any closing notes or call to actions, any events FIRSTPICK is going to?
Yeah, I'm happy to do a closing remark. So I think what I said, just want to come back to what I said, like it's such a fantastic time to build a company right now. And if you have an idea in mind, just try and do it, You can get on Lovable, you can vibe code it, you can try to sell it, and just like get the feeling of what it's like to build something, even if it's, not serious, even if you do it just like for fun. Just try that. Like it's so powerful. It's really eye-opening how easily you can build software today, like simple software, right? So just try to do that. And in terms of FIRSTPICK, I think, we're always here, always looking for founders. It's never early to speak to us, so just like come, don't be a stranger. We are quite active in the market, both here and in the Baltics. In terms of events, I don't even know. Like today, half of our team is in Kaunas. We are here with Nicodemus today. Next week, I think we also have a bunch of events. And one of the bigger conferences that we will be at is Latitude 59 in Tallinn at the end of May. That's also an awesome event, so can recommend everyone to go there. Yeah, and thanks.
Awesome. Just do it. Pitch people. Thank you very much, Andra.
Thank you.
It was great. Guys, just do it. Take a picture, post it on Instagram and Twitter, and tag the Vilnius Founders. Thank you. You get a drink. And get a drink while we still have some budget from FIRSTPICK. Thank you.